The regular meeting of the Minneapolis Police Conduct Oversight Commission Audit Subcommittee will now begin.
All right, good afternoon. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Police Conduct Oversight Commission Audit Subcommittee for December 27th, 2021. I am Jordan Crockett, and I am the one of the commissioners on the subcommittee. As we begin, I'll note for the record that this meeting has remote participation by members and city staff as authorized under Minnesota Statutes Section 13D-021 due to the declared local public health emergency. This meeting will be recorded and posted to the city's website and YouTube channel as a means of increasing public access and transparency. This meeting is public and subject to the Minnesota Open Meeting Law. At this time, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll so we can verify a quorum for this meeting.
Commissioner Crockett.
Here.
Commissioner Sparks.
I'm here.
And Chair Pinot is absent. There are 2 members present.
All right. Let the record reflect we have a quorum. Cool. And I'm gonna kind of stumble through a lot of this here. So Commissioner Sparks, you'll have to kind of help me out on some of the topics there. We'll have to double team some stuff.
I'll do my best. I think hopefully we can get through it.
Perfect.
You know, it runs a tight ship.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, cool. So next on to the adoption of the agenda and acceptance of minutes. Next, we'll proceed to our agenda, a copy of which has been posted for public access to the city's legislative information management system, which is available at lims.minneapolis, lims.mn.gov. The first motion is the adoption of the agenda and acceptance of minutes from the meeting of, I believe it was November 22nd. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda and accept the November minutes?
Commissioner Sparks, I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda and accept the minutes.
All right. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Crockett.
Aye.
Commissioner Sparks.
Aye.
There are 2 ayes.
All right. Motion carries and the agenda is adopted and the November minutes accepted. All right, now next order of business is the acceptance of public comments. I'll open the floor and invite comments from the community. We'll limit the public comment period to no more than 2 minutes per speaker. With that, are there any community members on the line who would wish to address the commission? Please press *6 to unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear?
We can sort of hear you. Looks like you cut out.
Can you hear me?
I think it's going in and out.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Oh, good. Okay. My name is Avis Thomas. I am a retired statistician. I am very interested in this topic and would like to participate and contribute however I can.
Thank you, Avis.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Yes?
I'm here for my meeting.
This it might be the wrong call there. The last 84 digits 84. Unless you're looking for the Police Conduct Oversight Commission Subcommittee meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are there any other public comments?
I would like to understand how 2 people could be a quorum. I saw a much longer list of people elsewhere on the web.
Yeah, so the subcommittee, the audit sub, I can answer that as Commissioner Sparks. The audit subcommittee is a 3-person subcommittee, so we just need 2 of 3 for a quorum on the subcommittee. The larger police conduct oversight committee has more members, and we need more people for quorum on that. But for the subcommittee, we only need 2.
Are there any other members of the public? Any other public comments? All right. Well, I want to thank all of our speakers for their comments today. Next up, we will go ahead here to unfinished business items from our November meeting. And we have a few items from our November meeting. The first is the no-knock warrants.
So I can speak to that update if you would like me to.
Perfect.
So the our legal analyst has continued to compile the data on that we had talked about to address those questions the subcommittee proposed. I have not connected yet with Chair Pinal about the additional items that were talked about at the last meeting. There was a data request mentioned and a few other things that we were going to connect about. So hopefully that can happen as soon as possible. As far as the report goes, the timeline we were looking at was to have the data drafted into a beginning of the report, and then we were thinking of the issues we identified was the data collection, that some of the items we're collecting aren't in one place. And then if the subcommittee had any other additional recommendations based on the presentations that you've received or the comparison that was made between the, say, like no-knock Minnesota suggestions and the current police policy, that you could write that into the report and then it could be presented. So as far as the timeline goes, our goal would be to have the data and the draft outline of the report by next meeting, including the additional information that the chair wanted. And then if there's any additional recommendations, then the committee would add those in and review everything.
Thank you for the update, Chris. Do you have any comments, Sparks, or questions, Commissioner Sparks?
No, that's a great update. Thank you, Mr. Band. I have no questions.
Perfect. All right. So next unfinished business is going to be coaching. Would that also be an update from you, Chris?
I don't have an update on coaching. I don't know if Attorney Fussy has anything that he can provide about that.
Hello, Joel Fussy from the City Attorney's Office. No, I was invited to attend this meeting, I think, to address a question that might have arisen regarding a different item. So I don't have any information regarding coaching, or I don't know what the subcommittee's work is on that. I do know that I think it's been spoken to before. The city remains in ongoing litigation with regard to that topic. And so I know that as an enterprise, we're not making any real comment regarding that practice.
Okay, thank you.
This is Commissioner Sparks. So, Mr. Band, is that study on the coaching still ongoing? I think I seem to recall that we had decided we were going to still try to pursue the study using the data that we had available. What are you thinking on that?
Yes. So there is not a study ongoing. I think what we had talked about was the data portal was being updated for some of the old data, so that wouldn't be a creation of new coaching data. It was just the old data that is available online. I have not had an update from Andrew about the status of that being updated with the website.
See, yeah, I think we have had.
But yes, that is something that is something we had talked about.
Hey, not to interrupt you
old
guys'
data.
conversation. Not to interrupt you guys' conversation, but I'm trying to get on a meeting, and every time I put in my the number, it just sends me straight there every time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think we'd be able to help. You may want to possibly shoot an email to I guess whoever the person is you're getting in contact with.
Yeah, that makes sense. I appreciate it.
No problem. All right. Thank you for that clarification and update, Mr. Van. Is there any more like comments or anything on coaching?
As if that's the present state, that we're waiting for the portals to be updated with the old coaching data. I guess I don't have any additional questions. I guess, yeah, for whatever reason, I was under the impression we were still going to be pursuing it as a study, but maybe I was incorrect. Maybe I misunderstood.
My understanding is that the old data can be, because that's already been published, that data can be, those databases can be updated, but as far as any new data on coaching, that could not currently be done.
Right. Yeah, I understand that. I think maybe I misinterpreted your comments, but I think I took it to mean that what you said initially is that we're not pursuing that anymore. We're just waiting for the portals to be updated. But once the portals are updated with the old data, the pre-2017 data, is the intent to pursue that?
Yeah, well, I mean, once the data is updated, then it would certainly be available for us to use it as a basis of. I think what we talked about previously was a comparison of different incidents which were coached.
Yep.
We would have to go through the process with the subcommittee about setting out the feasibility of a study and what questions we would want answered. But at the moment, that is kind of dependent on those data portals being updated.
Gotcha. Okay, I think we're on the same page then. We just weren't quite lining up. All right, thanks.
Yeah, I think the misunderstanding on my part was that there is not a study currently in progress.
Gotcha.
All right. Perfect. Thank you again.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? This is Avis Thomas, and in addition to being a statistician, I have experience as a programmer. Is there something that I can do to assist to help get the data, assist with the data to make this happen?
Hi,
Did you hear me?
Avis. Yes,
Yeah.
we heard you. I think if you'd like to, and we appreciate you letting us know, but if you'd like to be involved directly with, I think some of the stats and things like that, you'd want to connect with I think maybe like the city clerk, and then they'll be able to direct you to any involvement with the commissions. I believe, would that be accurate, Commissioner Sparks? Is you'd want to connect with?
It sounds accurate. I'd have to defer to Peggy, though. Does that sound right to you, Peggy? They can reach out to the city clerk office if they're looking to have some involvement, and you can direct them to the appropriate resources.
Yes, I think
Okay,
that's true. I think we'd have to direct them to the staff that supports this committee.
Gotcha. Okay.
Probably someone in the police department, but or
If I have difficulty with the red tape, is there someone on this call who can coach me through and get me to the right person?
you can email city clerk at minneapolismn.gov, and that will go to just about every person in my office, and one of us should be able to connect you to the proper people.
Okay, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
All right, and I think we'll move on to the. Are we all good, Commissioner Sparks?
I'm set. Yeah, we can.
Good.
We can move on as far as I'm concerned.
Cool. Next, we'll talk about the. We'll address Mr. Fussy there, or Deputy Attorney Fussy. And thank you for attending, and just about the arbitration research and study.
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to attend and receive the invitation. I'm not exactly sure what the questions were. I think I got a little bit of the gist, and so I don't have a whole lot to say other than I think I have made comments in the last couple full Police Conduct Oversight Commission meetings regarding just a caution or advice to be wary of kind of mission creep, and to make sure that your, activities are aligning with the authority that you're given in the ordinance. And when I speak of that, I'm speaking of section 172.80, that list under subsection F. I think 10 different things are enumerated in which the commission and these committees would have general power to to look into research and to make recommendations regarding, and certainly discipline. Most of what that authority lies in is making recommendations and researching and studying police policies and practices. And so I guess the only caution I would have with this arbitration issue is, to ensure that any activity that you take regarding it fits into one of those enumerated categories of your authority, and to make sure that it focuses probably more on the police side and what might be applicable police policies with regard to discipline or other policies that are implicated. This is not, all of the decisions, once it goes to a grievance or an arbitration process, that's a city attorney office function, and we have a couple HR attorneys, labor attorneys in my office that's what they do, and that's their kind of exclusive jurisdiction, so to speak. And so I would just caution that, I don't think this committee or this commission is charged with reviewing, the legal decisions or strategies or practices that the city attorney, the labor attorneys for the city undertake with regard to arbitrations. But if there are other topics that are kind of implicated by this topic that do fit within your general authority, which is to look at police specific policies and procedures, then by all means it would be ripe for you to try to do whatever you might want to in terms of looking into it or making any recommendations. So that's kind of only the general advice that I've been giving lately. I know people are spread thin and resources are spread thin, and it looks like the commission is kind of ramping up and starting to look at a lot of different topics, which is fantastic, of course, but then you also have to be cognizant of making sure that you're sticking within your authority and that you aren't getting spread too thin, so to speak. So that would only be kind of the general advice that I would give. But if there are other specific questions that you have, I can certainly look at that as well.
Go ahead, Commissioner Sparks.
It's one of the thanks, Mr. Fussy, for talking to us about that. I did have two specific questions that I remember we had for you, if that's okay.
Oh yeah, sure.
So I don't know. So these arbitrations, I'll throw a link in the Teams chat. Our previous meeting agenda had 5 or 6 of them. I think there were 10 total that we were asked to look at by Chair Sarah. There's 5 or 6 of them in our previous meeting agenda. So if you open the meeting agenda and click on any of them, you'll notice that there's a fair amount of redactions. And we had 2 questions about the redactions. Was one, is it possible for us to get access to, if we want to look at them and do a little bit of a study, is it possible for us as a subcommittee to get access to unredacted versions of the documents?
The way that, that the city, the enterprise has interpreted the Data Practices Act and our responsibilities is that you are entitled only to, the summary and aggregate data that members of the public would be entitled to. So no, I don't think it would be possible to get private data based on the committee level or the commission level. And that's been, the longstanding practice with the city. A couple things, however, and I think Chair Sarah probably referenced it. Some of these arbitration decisions, like unredacted versions, are out there on, on some other websites or on the state arbitration website. And that can be for a couple of different reasons. It could be that the officers council, released it voluntarily to the media or for some other purpose, and it just gotten out there into the world. It also could be that, from what I understand, is for a while the state arbitration office actually interpreted the Data Practices Act a little more openly or broadly, and so I think some fuller decisions got put on their website. Now, from what I understand from our data people and our responsible authority and our council, is that, although we're only able to give the public version that we think is in accord with the law. If there are other versions, more fuller versions out there, obviously that's there, and that's something you can look at if it's in the public realm. And so, and I don't know how many there are, but I know that on some of those, I think there are more public versions that are out there. So it might be that you're able to get more full decisions in that manner.
Okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I appreciate it. It's a good idea. It's probably a good reminder to all of us that those statutes are sort of open for interpretation, and different bodies have different interpretations. Different individuals have different interpretations.
Certainly.
We've certainly seen that, so I appreciate it. The related question that I had was, does OPCR have the ability to look at those, or another body to look at unredacted? If we as a committee can't, does another department have the ability to look at them, conduct the study, write the study without publicly disclosing, but using that redacted information?
Well, I'd say in general, I don't think, at least the way that it's been interpreted consistently, is that the way the ordinance exists right now is that the commission members are not, whether it's at the commission as a whole or a subcommittee, are entitled to the public data and not to any private personnel data. So I don't know if that would be possible in another guise or in another composition of commissioners. And
well,
I don't know.
mean,
I guess it would depend
not commissioners. I guess I mean city employees.
I mean, I don't know which city employees, and then they wouldn't be able to, it'd be kind of a odd setup because they wouldn't be able to speak of or reference any of the actual personal data in there. So I don't know if that's, I guess I'd have to have more specifics on that, but I don't know if that's even really a possibility. It comes down to whether that person is themselves authorized to view non-public data, and certainly there are many individuals within the enterprise that do have greater access to data, but I don't think that they're going to be able to then just kind of use that status to create a report that's going to be available in a more public sense. It'd be really walking a tightrope.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm just asking. The questions that came up, but I think I see what you're saying. So an individual with OPCR or human rights or somebody might be able to access unredacted information, but what they make available as a result of that it couldn't be in conflict, right? It would still have to only be what's publicly available. Okay. So that would be difficult.
I can put out there, as I mentioned, my office employs 2 attorneys who are labor attorneys, and they, have extensive experience in doing these arbitrations and grievance arbitrations. And I don't know what their comfortableness would be in terms of just talking to you as a committee or a commission probably not with regard to specific cases, but they might be open to kind of speaking to their experience with the processes, what they might recommend, what are the hangups that they see, what do they think is preventing maybe the outcomes that they want to see in all cases. There are questions like that they might be able to address. I can't promise. I just don't know, what they'd be able to share, but it certainly might be worth at least reaching out and seeing if that's a discussion they'd be able to have with you on any level.
Okay. No, I appreciate it. That's a good idea. And it's like you said, it's tough with these questions too, especially if somebody, and I can see that we have different interpretations, but it's a tough, you take a personal risk, if you step over the line the way these things are written, and I wouldn't want anybody to take a personal, legal, or professional risk just so we have a little more information.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So okay. So I appreciate it. I don't feel the need to reach out to those attorneys at the moment, but it's a nice option to have if we sort of formulate what we want to do a little more closely in the future. It's good to know that that's something that we can pursue. So thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys.
Right. I'm out of questions.
Cool. Thank you, Commissioner Sparks. Thank you, Attorney Fussy. All right. If there's no more discussion, we can move next on to discipline research and study. And I believe, is this Chris as well that has an update?
I don't have one I can think of specifically right now. Can you remind me of what the question is about discipline?
Let me see. So I don't have a specific question there. Commissioner Sparks, do you have any notes on discipline specifically?
No, I'm checking my notes, and I think I feel like maybe we were just discussing the possibility of looking at a discipline study, but I don't think we got that far into the discussion. I don't have any questions that I wrote down myself. Don't know if I have anything for this topic. Sorry.
No, you're totally fine.
So if there is a study that you wanted to propose, then we can put that on the list to go through the process for that. Again, what the questions are: the feasibility of the study, the available data. If discipline is imposed, the data does become a bit more public, so that would be helpful in that. I guess the conflicting issue would be where if because I've heard this question raised before, where if something is coaching, then it's not discipline, and I think it's been mentioned before that part of that would be looking at what gets coached versus what is discipline. There would be a difficulty in that area. But as far as the discipline goes, I believe that is available on our data portals. So it'd be kind of what the study wants to address.
I seem to remember that we had some discussion about we wanted to be maybe focused on the outcomes. There was concern that there might be disparate outcomes in the discipline process. Yeah, I don't quite remember where we left off on that. It's might be something we might want to save for when Chair Pina is back.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll look out for that for any future kind of study proposals.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chris, or Mr. Ban. All right, well, we've actually we've made it through, so we reached the end there. Is there any other discussion there, Commissioner Sparks?
I have nothing else.
Okay. With that, we've concluded all items on our agenda for this meeting. Seeing no further business to come before us, and without objection, I will declare this meeting adjourned. All right. Well, thank you guys. I think that's a wrap.
Do you want me to put in the minutes that the discussion on these items is continued to your next meeting? Or just
I think the discipline and research would be next meeting.
Okay.
Right. Commissioner Sparks, would there be any other discussions?
I think I almost sort of feel like we should mark them all as continued the next meeting. They're going to have to come up again anyways.
For sure. I'll quote that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. And with that, Peggy, do you have any other comments or questions or anything?
No, I think I'm good. I'll just work with Lisa if I have any more questions.
Sounds good. All right. Well, Happy New Year, everyone, or happy holidays.
Thanks much. You too. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ms. Menchik. Appreciate your help.
You're welcome. Thanks for putting up with me.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Have a good one.